Would you believe me if I said that almost every book or movie you have ever watched or read is just a different iteration of the same story? Would you believe me if I said that the original Star Wars with Luke and Obi-Wan is the same as Harry Potter and the Hunger Games? This may not seem true, but it's a fact. They all follow the same plot and have the same main characters, just different names and faces. Katniss Everdeen, Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter, Moana, Peter Parker, Paul Atreides. All of their stories follow the same setup and timeline, but take place in entirely different worlds from what we know, and often from what they know as well. The structure of these stories is what makes them all the same. The hero's journey, which is a setup cycle of events that creates a pattern throughout our favorite stories. Typically, the hero's journey is going to start with a call to adventure. In Star Wars, when R2-D2 projects a hologram of Princess Leia saying one of the most iconic lines ever, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." In Harry Potter, there are letters delivered by owls from Hogwarts, and it's hard to forget when hundreds and hundreds of letters are flying into number 4 Privet Drive. And in the Hunger Games, Katniss volunteers as tribute to save her sister Prim from the fighting in the Hunger Games. After that, though, the hero's typically going to meet an aide or a mentor who is going to guide them along their journey. In Star Wars, Luke meets Obi-Wan. In Harry Potter, Harry meets Hagrid and eventually Dumbledore. And in the Hunger Games, Katniss meets Haymitch and eventually Effie. After that, though, there's going to be a crossover from the known world to the unknown world. In Star Wars, Luke leaves Tatooine on the Millennium Falcon to travel the galaxy and save Princess Leia and learn the ways of the Jedi. In Harry Potter, Harry leaves the Muggle world and enters the Wizarding world in Diagon Alley and eventually in Hogwarts. And in the Hunger Games, Katniss leaves District 13 on a train to the capital of Panem, where she's eventually going to fight in the Hunger Games. I hope you're starting to see now that these stories clearly follow the same structure. And even though I've only shown you this through 3 stories, I hope you're starting to get the idea. I would keep going and say the rest of the stages, but there are another 13, and I'm just truly not interesting enough to hold your attention for the next 20 minutes. So moving on, I just recently read Harry Potter for my first time. I know, I'm a little behind. But every night, I would hop into my bed, tell my Alexa to dim the lights, and I would heave this massive illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone onto my lap. Admiring the beautiful illustrations on the cover, I would open up the book, and I would begin to read. The story brought me to this next dimension, where I wasn't the reader anymore, but I was a spectator, watching the scenes unfold in front of my eyes through these words. I loved the plot, the characters, and the story. But the reason I loved it wasn't just because of the writing and the storytelling, but it was because of the way it affected me. The hero's journey isn't only fun and exciting, but it's also relatable, which makes us begin to care for and be inspired by the hero, which is why we're so drawn to them, because we use them. It may not make sense yet, but as I see it, stories do 2 main things for you. Number 1, provide an escape, and number 2, inspire you to grow. Whenever I'm sad or upset or just need a break, I'm typically going to want to watch TV or read a book. Let's face it though, I don't favor books over TV. I'm just going to plop down on my couch. And to stick with what we've already established, I'm going to watch Star Wars. For those of you who know me, I'm a very big Star Wars fan. So I'm watching Star Wars, but not only because I love Star Wars, but because once again, in this scenario, I'm upset. But I'm watching something in the first place because it's going to let me take my mind off what's happening around me. We use the hero's journey as an escape from here to there. I know for me, Star Wars transports me to this other, not even world, but galaxy, where there are so many things to do and learn that I couldn't even imagine here. It lets me take a break from what's happening around me. And for other stories, this is true for a lot of people. According to the Pew Research Center, 15% of readers read for the escape feeling, and that is most commonly seen in the form of the hero's journey. Aside from the escape, though, the hero's journey has a big impact on our lives. Star Wars, for me, is very inspirational. It's taught me about creativity, morality, and integrity in an exciting and thrilling way that's kept me engaged throughout my entire life. Creativity-wise, I have memories of fighting with super long pool noodles on the playground and pretending that they were lightsabers, and I could see them glow and I could hear the zoom in my ears. But Harry Potter tackles creativity in a much more straightforward sense, seeing as the stories all revolve around magic. I remember on that same playground just over there, I would pick up a stick and it would be my wand and I would wave it and I would cast a spell at my friend who would dodge, and then they would cast a spell back at me, but I would dodge because I really did not want to be petrified that day. So moving on, the hero's journey isn't only just a story, but it lets us experience the crossing over from that known world to the unknown world. It lets us experience excitement and the thrill, because for a lot of us, we feel stuck in that known world and we can't cross over. The hero's journey transports us from the world as we know it to the world as they know it. And we're so drawn to it because it deeply resonates with us and reflects the highs and the lows of our lives in a fantastic way. In Joseph Campbell's book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, that describes the hero's journey in depth, there's a quote that really spoke to me. It says, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. I hope you enter that cave. Don't be afraid to thrive in your imagination and creativity. And if you have the chance to enter an unknown world, take it. Thank you.